else, that leaves us with our final movie, Meet Me in St. Louis.
St. Louis or St. Louis?
Well,
Meet
I
me
don't
in St. Louis.
Meet Me in St. Louis. So everybody's
They when
singing,
they sing it, they do say Louis.
but then the little evil child tells someone, no, it's St. Louis.
Well, tell that to the songwriter.
So this is a Vincent Minnelli kind of Technicolor musical. It has very much. This is the first time that I've seen something that has the vibe of those like 1950s musicals.
Hmm.
The kind of sprawling, kind of cheery, simplistic musicals of the 50s, I guess.
Yeah. This movie's got some melancholy to it, but it is overall very bright and cheery, I would say. It is a movie that I feel like ultimately is about hey, St. Louis is a cool town because it's where I live, is what the main character says. And that's kind of the movie is mostly just like, hey, St. Louis, pretty cool town, huh?
Yeah, we're having a World's Fair.
Right? There's a bunch of people that live here, and they have lives that they got ups and downs, but at the end of the day, everything's dandy.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the letterboxd reviews of this movie. Someone was saying like that this is the only movie where the inspiring thing is that you stay in your Midwest town, and you find. But then the one that I really liked from Haley was, this would be my Ladybird if I were a Midwestern 1940s teen, which
I mean, I that's probably very true. I'm sure it was for a lot of
yeah.
Midwestern 1940s teens. I mean, it's really kind of made that's the target audience for this movie. I feel like
Yeah, yeah. So this, you know, we were doing synopses for the other movies, but this movie is kind
this
of
movie
just,
this kind of movie doesn't really have a plot. It's kind of just like a bunch of stuff happens and then
yeah,
it's done.
and yeah, it's kind of episodic, I guess, and so it was based on
Yeah.
some sort of serialized short stories, and I think that kind of shows in this. It's about a year in the life of, once again, like we were talking about, this people are posing as if they're not aristocratic, but they have a maid, right?
And
uh
they live in a massive mansion.
yeah, and they're like, oh, we'd have to live in a tenement home, and if we went to New York.
Oh.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's basically like the kind of main thrust of the movie is that the dad gets a job in New York, and so he ends up saying that we have to move, and so they have this kind of their last 6 months or something
Mhm.
in St. Louis, and they are reckoning with having to leave. Some of the daughters are trying to court boys, and that's part of the plot. And then some of the daughters are trying to kill a trolley full of people, and that's another plot.
You say that as a joke. That's just a thing that happens in the movie.
There's a cute little kid called Tootie, that really is a bit of a demon.
Yeah.
And that really comes out in the
That
section of the
really
movie that's Halloween.
another movie set during Halloween, much
Yeah,
like Arsenal Blaze.
yeah,
Also, a movie that has plot points about gas lamps being turned off.
yes, yeah. The
It's funny because
most
I watched this first and then I watched Gaslight and it was very funny. I think I watched them back to back and I was like, man, this 1944 has a weird thing with gas lamps.
one is a symbol of love, and the other
Right,
one,
exactly. And the other is a
yeah,
symbol of like control and nightmares.
yeah,
It reminded me a lot of Little Women, the Greta Gerwig movie. I haven't seen the other ones or read the book, but right, and it's about this family that with a bunch of daughters, and all the daughters have they don't get along always, but they have their different lives that they're all trying to figure out. And then the dad comes home, and in Little Women, when the dad comes home, it's like, oh, dad. The dad is just the warmest, kindest, most wonderful person.
and he owns every kind of classic car.
Exactly, exactly. He even has doubles and triples of some of the cars. But in this, the dad sucks and just wants to uproot his family because he got a slightly higher paying job, despite the fact that he clearly makes enough to live in this mansion in St. Louis.
I gotta look out for you guys. I gotta take any job that my boss tells me to
And
take.
then
I gotta
his
up.
his entire family is like, "No, we hate this. We don't want to move. Why would you even suggest that?" And he's like, I'm the dad. You have to do what I say." And he eventually does like go back on it, but it's for like a big chunk of the movie. He's just a stubborn dick to his whole family. And so it's like Little Women if the dad was a dick instead of a nice person. I also was kind of reminded of Gone with the Wind, just in the sense that this movie has this sort of very kind of nostalgic-y romantic idea of like the South a little bit. It's not nearly as toxic as it is in Gone with the Wind. I don't think I wouldn't even say that this movie is problematic or toxic about it much at all. I mean, it's set post Civil War.
Yeah,
They don't bring up a lot of like race stuff, but
it's just 40
I think
years
in this
ago.
case it's okay. Yeah, it's sort of like, yeah, there probably would have been more of that in the 1900s in St. Louis, but like I think it's fine that this nice colorful movie is like, we're not going to worry about that.
I mean, this is a movie this is equivalent to a movie being set in the 80s right now.
Which I thought about, that it's like not, because I think both this and Magnificent Ambersons, right, are like set around, kind of turn of the century times. And for whatever reason, as like a person in the 21st century watching it, I'm like, why are we setting movies in the 1900s? What a terrible time to be nostalgic about. But I get it. It's like the 30-year cycle or whatever. But right, it makes sense why people in the 40s would be like, the early 1900s, like those were the days, right? And watching that now, I'm just like, this like is not. And a third movie, what's it called? How Green Was My Valley, that I feel
Hmm.
like is set in a similar time period and has this very romantic, nostalgic viewpoint. And I don't. It's not that I don't get it, because I live in a much different time than they did, but for whatever reason I'm like, I don't see the appeal.
I guess
I don't see the appeal of the 1900s.
it's hard for me to say anything as the guy that is constantly wearing early 90s, late 80s shirts.
I
Uh,
mean, you're talking to the guy who's constantly wearing 1940s clothes, the worst time in like all of human history.
so you're saying that you endorse everything that happened in the 1940s?
Correct. Yeah, everything that happened in the decade of the 1940s, I fully endorse.
Uh,
My fingers were crossed that whole time. Whoa.
so yeah, it's Technicolor. It's a very pretty movie visually.
Yeah.
It's like you're just soaking in those nostalgic vibes with these hyper saturated colors. Somebody please make a LUT in order for everything to look like this.
They've tried. People keep trying to make Technicolor again. They can't do it.
It's tragic. It's really
Yeah.
tragic. And yeah, and this movie also has a bunch of really iconic songs in it.
Yeah. The trolley song.
We got ring, ring, ring goes the trolley, ding, ding, ding goes the bell.
That's the big one, I feel like.
Well, no, the big one is have yourself a merry little
That doesn't come
Christmas.
from this movie, does it?
Yes, it does.
Holy shit.
Yes,
Oh
it
well,
does.
in that case, yeah, that wins. I
Make
didn't
the
even realize that.
Yuletide gay. Yeah, a song that Judy Garland's character is singing to her sad little sister to kind of cheer her up, but it's almost like a melancholic Christmas because
Mm,
they know they're going to be moving away from St. Louis in a couple days. And yeah, that is the origin of this song.
wow. I can't believe, one, that I didn't realize that. But also just like, yeah, that's huge. That's a huge legacy for this movie to have.
Mhm.
Almost as big as I think this movie's biggest contribution to culture, that Liza Minnelli is a person because of this movie. Because Vincent Minnelli met Judy Garland while making this movie.
And without Liza Minnelli, we would not have, say it with me, Arrested Development.
I was gonna say Lucille too, but yeah,
Yeah,
same
yeah,
answer.
Lucille too.
So gotta hand it to this movie for that alone. I mean, the Halloween section. I think we gotta talk about that. We mentioned it briefly.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's kind of, yes, this movie kind of like dips in on every season
Hmm.
over the course of the year, but it kind of sits in those Halloween vibes for a while. And I think probably what you're about to say is that it gives us some insight into some very weird turn of the century Halloween traditions.
Yeah, well, it's really going hard on the idea of Halloween being like Devil's Night, where all the children go out and they cause mischief and they do a lot of pranks, and their pranks usually involve just like kind of attacking people or like messing up their house, or in this case, throwing flour on people.
And if you make the flour a little wet, it sticks a little better,
Right, which
says
is right.
Grandpa.
Trick or treat originally, right? Trick or treat was like you either give out
There's
a
a
treat or
threat.
you get tricked. Yeah, it's sort
Yeah.
of like give
Get
me candy or
tricked.
I'll yeah, give me candy or I'll throw wet flour in your face.
They should bring that back, honestly. I think that's great.
I agree. I agree. I think people still like TP houses, right? But that's about it. Even
I've
that I feel like
never
has gone by the wayside.
I don't think I've ever genuinely seen that happen. But with the TPing houses, right? That's like an implicit threat. Like if you are walking up and going, "I have flour in my hand. I will throw it at you if you don't give me candy right now." Like
Well,
that's a
see,
power
Tootie
move.
doesn't even ask for candy. She just rings the doorbell and throws flour at a guy.
And she says, "I hate you," too.
Which is the other Halloween tradition that we've lost is instead of saying trick or treat, saying I hate you.
"I hate you. Get floured. Get tricked."
Tootie being like the youngest sister, she really wants to partake in all the Halloween mischief, but everyone's like, no, you're too young, you're too young. So she volunteers to go to the scariest house in the neighborhood where the scary people live. And there's a big dog that's there. But she does it. She goes up and throws flour at a guy and says, I hate you, and runs away. And then everyone likes and respects her in her community.
See, this was the moment where I was like, "What is this movie doing?" Because because you would think that a child like would learn a lesson and it would tie into the themes of the movie or something. And like I
No,
don't
it,
really.
it increases her penchant for mischief. It further reinforces that this is what she should be doing with her life.
But yeah, it's just like it's a thing that happens, right? It's a thing that
Yeah,
happens
yeah,
in her life, and it doesn't like this moment of her kind of earning the respect of the other children, or this moment of her being like randomly cruel to this guy. Like it doesn't really tie into anything else in the movie.
the people in the house he thinks are really scary. The guy is just kind of like perplexed by having the flour thrown at him. He's just like, "Hey, that was mean."
Well, it's like one of those classic situations where like kids are like like you're saying, like that's the scary house, right? We don't go up
Yeah,
to there. We're scared of them. And then in every
yeah,
movie they're like, "Oh, they're actually nice."
yeah.
This movie didn't even go that far. It was just like they got flowered and then we move on.
And then right there's the whole trolley thing where like, what do they do? They like throw a fake dead body in front of a trolley,
Yeah, and like
hoping that it will get derailed.
yeah. You horrible 7-year-old, you could have killed dozens of people.
And I'm like, correct. Yes, that is like that. That's not like childhood mischief. That's just a crime.
She's just like, I can't be charged as an adult, so
Right. Yeah. That's the only reason she did it. She knew that she could get away with it. We got a big Christmas Eve ball, right? And there's a whole thing where like Esther doesn't have a dress to go to the ball, and who's gonna be at the ball, and I don't want to go to the ball by myself, and I don't know. I'm a little. Maybe it's just the fact that I didn't grow up in a affluent. I never went to balls as a child. I don't know. I find that stuff hard to relate to.
I mean, also because we were homeschooled, we didn't go to dances, and I feel like that's like probably the analog. Yeah,
Yeah, I think we're probably both somewhat too young. I mean, dance cards I think were already kind of out of fashion by by the 90s anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I find that stuff it's nice to look at in a Technicolor movie, but I find it hard to get emotionally invested in it, I guess.
yeah. I think this movie's fine.
Yeah. I think this, similarly to the last one, is a great movie to throw on. Especially like maybe around Christmas. I think it is sort of a standby Christmas movie for a lot of people.
I think like the kind of the pointlessness of it rubs me the wrong way a little bit, and so I feel like this is a movie to throw on in the background, where To Have and To Have Not is a movie to actually watch but in a chill way with commercials in
Mm.
between.
Okay, okay. Well, no, not we don't want commercials in our
I'm just saying,
movies.
like, if it's on TV or something like that,
Sure, sure.
I'd watch it on TV.
There's a big to do about a phone call in this movie and various sort of phone call dramas, and I think it is notable and kind of funny how little phone communication has changed in the last 120 years. That it's like all of the like phone drama like would translate 100% to now.
I mean,
The like miscommunication stuff, like misunderstanding aspects of it, the like I guess there's a bit of sort of like a phone call is going to happen at 6:30 exactly, and like we need to like clear the room.
yeah, and also, like, it's a long distance call. Can you believe that? He's calling all the way from New York.
It just feels contemporary in the sense that like yeah, people talking on the phone hasn't changed really. I don't know. There is some really good performances I think in this movie. I think there is some real moments of pathos, some very funny bits. I think the kid who plays Tootie is very good at feeling like a just genuine kid. Like it doesn't feel like she's
Mhm,
performing really.
mhm.
I forget if it's her, like Judy Garland or one of the people. I just remember there was a scene in this where someone was crying, and I was like, this feels like real crying. Like this doesn't feel like movie crying where you're like
Hmm.
kind of trying to look glamorous about it. It's like this just belligerent crying.